Welcome to Boxing Fans Talk TV. I'm your host, TDT, and you can refer to me as Miss T. It is Sunday. It's Sunday, you guys. And this is the segment that I like to call Finding the Health in You. I do this every Sunday at 1 p.m. In fact, let me put my banners up. Let me make sure that I have the phone lines open in case anybody wants to call in. And like my boxing show, you could call in at 706-804-4449, or you could come in the chat and make yourself be heard that way, or you can beam in and I will put an invite into the chat. But this today's segment is going to be about exercising and food and correlating them together. So let's do the intro and let's go ahead on and turn two. Welcome back to Boxing Fans Talk TV. As I said earlier, I'm your host, TDT. You can refer to me as Miss T. Let me turn this phone off. For those of you who are watching me in Facebooks, welcome. Come on in to the broadcast through YouTube and hit the like and subscribe button. Be sure that you do that and come in the chat and let's chop it up. So, as you saw, my title, Finding the Health in You, I do this every Sunday at 1 p.m. And I'm just basically sharing with you what I've learned over the years because I know it was people out there like me who was suffering in silence because they didn't have the proper information. And it's just me giving back is something I'm passionate about. You can go back and watch all my Sunday shows, and I talk about some of everything when it comes to the body and how it's supposed to function. Um, as you see, I'm going to be talking about exercise and food and how you correlate them together. So I do get a lot of emails about exercising and why don't I think it's important? Because I have a program that I'm offering. I have one that I charge, and I offer one that is free. Um, and when I charge, it's like me being more specific to you, helping you specifically find the health in you. But the overall free one is just something we should overall just gravitate to anyway. But I want to say a little rap verse. I'm hoping I can remember the words because it made me think of this when I'm talking about exercise and food, correlating them together. Remember that song Self Destruction when he said today's topic, self destruction. It really ain't the rap audience is bugging. It's one or two suckers, ignorant brothers, trying to rob and steal from one another. But you get caught in the mid. So to crush that stereotype, here's what we did. We got ourselves together so that we can unite and fight for what's right, not negative cause the way we live is positive. We don't kill our relatives. I thought about that song when I came up with this topic. And I came up with this topic because of what people have been emailing me about and everything. And normally at this point, because I've talked about all the gist of my program and the things I thought that was relevant to it. So then I just said, okay, let me answer some questions. And that's what I was doing. All the questions that you guys send me, I try to answer. But this way I'm actually just talking about food and exercise together because a lot of people think that I'm anti-exercise, but I'm not. And I gleaned that by the way the emails come in. So just so you know, so we clear, I'm not anti-exercise. But to do my program, you do not have to exercise. Exercise is great in so many ways, but it can also serve as a derailment, especially when I'm talking to the ladies. Most of the ladies who email me is mostly about diet or about losing weight. That's the profound question that I get from most ladies. And I would imagine that I will get that all the time. I can help you with that. If you look at my previous shows, um, you would understand why I come at the conclusions I come to and why I take the approach that I take when it comes to exercising. I just have a belief or understanding of how the human body works. Now, I'm a person, unlike most of you who are looking at me and following my shows, I'm a person who have suffered in silence medically. The damage is done with me. I'm missing 4 organs. I ain't missing it. It was taken. I namely do not make metabolism. So you cannot judge what I'm doing on what you're going to do. But I will tell you, inside, I'm healthy as hell. And I've probably never been this healthy in probably about 5 years. I was doing good in my, early 40s or whatever. When I got close to my mid 40s, I suffered a heart attack. I want to say 2018 or something like that. 2018. I believe that was the year. I went to amusement park with my kids, and as approaching the front part of the amusement park before we could get in, I said, "Oh, I'm not riding that. I will not ride that because I'm a person that ride roller coasters." As we get in the amusement park, we walked straight to the back and we got on that roller coaster. I said I wasn't going to get on. Now at that time, it was the steepest drop roller coaster that this country had. It was known for having the steepest decline, and it was supposed to be like real close to 90-degree drop, but that's not even practical. So it was something. It was something like close to it. But it had a little slant. I mean, it was a steep drop. Let me just put it that way. And it was up there. And when I got off the ride, I started immediately probably went into cardiac arrest. And long story short, it was lasting about a couple of days, off and on. And I went to the ER like the next day and found out, yes, I had a cardiac arrest. And it was due to the medications that they was giving me. So when you're dealing with the doctors and you're dealing with your health and all that, you almost have to become a doctor or a nurse yourself because to understand what they're talking about and what you got to do going forward and this, that, and the other. It wasn't my time for a heart attack. It really wasn't. The medicine I was given led me into it. And then the straw that broke the camel's back was the roller coaster ride itself. And excitement can put you in a heart attack condition or whatever, just so you know. So I can tell you from experience that it takes a long time to recover from that. I felt like I was too young. I don't know why people feel embarrassed when they have a heart attack. Um, but you do. You could think you won't, but you will. I cried, but I'm not a crier, like make noise. If I'm in pain, yes. If I hurt myself and I'm in pain, yeah, I'll cry like that. But just to be sobbing and making noise, I don't when it's something other than pain. Um I cried in silence. I couldn't believe it. I just felt like I was too young and I felt embarrassed because I felt like, well, what did I do to make myself have a heart attack? Because sometimes you think a heart attack comes because of neglect. It is not hard to have a heart attack. Let me just tell y'all that. And that's an area of the body that I didn't research on in depth while I was learning all these other things about food and how to eat. Because I had cancer in my thyroid gland long time ago when I was like 25, 24, and I had that removed back then. So I don't have a thyroid gland. Haven't had one for like 25 years. So The heart, I had a damaged heart because of that. When they start removing organs from your body, you're not the same. You start overworking other parts of your body and you can damage other parts of your body. So my heart was damaged in that process that we didn't find out till I was in my late 30s. And so I have to, once you damage your heart, you cannot go back and refix it. So I said all this to say, you know, it's about what you put in your body, to include food and other things that can, or what they, if you damage other parts of your body, you can inadvertently cause damage to another part. Remember always, an imbalance anywhere is an imbalance everywhere. So all that to say, I'm just bringing that up because I recently had a cardiac, not a cardiac arrest, a cardiologist appointment this past week, and I got some of the best news. So I know I'm doing everything right. I have no coronary blockage. I don't have mucus or plaque built up in my veins or arteries. Nowhere. I have great cholesterol. Whatever your cholesterol should be, mine is there. I do have my disorder that I was born with and I can't get rid of, and it will always cause me damage in my life, but I have to learn how to control it as best I can. And that depends on what I eat, you know. Unfortunately, I didn't know about this disorder as a child, as a teenager, as a young adult. I didn't really know about this disorder until either my late 30s or early 40s. So I'm behind the power curve and trying to rectify a lot of situations. And because I'm behind the power curve of rectifying situations, there is damage done to me that I cannot go back and recreate or refix. I have to work with what I got and be sure to not cause further damage. That's where I'm at. But I come to you guys trying to help you guys not even go down the route that I went there. And it's easily to go down because of the world in which we live in, the way things are ran, the way things are approached. As I told y'all in my show, I'm never going to tell you nothing that ain't already out there. Nothing I'm telling you is a secret. It's out there. But what they seem to do is they throw everything out there hoping that you pick it up on your own, and that don't always happen. It has nothing to do with your lack of intelligence or anything like that. You can be the most smartest person in the world. Some people can pick up shit real easy and good. Some people can't. So the way America does it, they throw everything at the wall and hopefully everything stick and hopefully everything you'll pick up everything and connect dots. But we don't. And that's been proven over and over again. As again, I'm talking about what we consume. If we knew better, we'll do better, right? So, all that to say, I got good news from the cardiologist, which is now going to um, give me a chance or opportunity to do what I love to do, which is to be physical. I love to be physical. I did not pick it, it picked me. I understand in the time that I was born or when my generation, it wasn't always well received for a young girl to want to be physical. When I say physical, meaning I like to play ball of any kind. I like stuff that was challenging and dangerous. That just wasn't ideal for young girls to want to be living that way. But I did. I didn't pick it. It picked me. No more than a painter picked to be a painter. If you take a painter hands and break them, you could damn near kill them spiritually, you know, because they have that kind of passion to want to be a painter, or a person who plays music, who has that passion to want to be an artist in any kind of way. When they don't have the ability to do that, it drives them crazy. And so this is important for me to talk about to you because of the subjects that I'm going to talk about. Um, when you have a passion for something and it's easy for you, like, if we should all be so lucky to do jobs in this life where we're passionate about it, because then it's not really a job. If I was a singer and I just love to sing, and I'm able to sell records upon records upon records, and I make enough money to live a certain lifestyle and travel the world and take care of my family, all from singing, then I hit pay dirt. I struck gold because I'm doing something I would love, and I'm making a living off of it. And I'm still having a private life. You know what I'm saying? We should all be lucky, but life don't always work out like that. Sometimes what you love has to suffice as a hobby or something that you do on the side. For me, it was physical. Again, being physical. Sports, acclimated. I was acclimated more to sports than, anything imaginative. I can be creative, but I'm more acclimated to sports and being physical. So if you can show me whatever sport, I'm gonna pick it up and I'm gonna master it. And that's the way I was as a little girl up. You know what I'm saying? So if you take that away from me, you have a sad person on your hand. You understand? Um, I relish in the fact that I know enough stuff where I can make things happen in the physical realm. You know what I'm saying? Even when I'm helping someone else, if somebody says, I want a body like so and so, you know, I know how to do that. I know how to help you get there. I've done it. I know how to do it. And um the part that saddens me is that I couldn't fully do it for myself. And the reason I couldn't fully do it for myself is because I don't have all the tools that you guys have. Medically, the damage has been done. I'm missing 4 organs. I hate to say missing, but I don't have them anymore. And they were integral to me living that physical world I wanted to live. So I would say, I came into this world with a lot of gifts, like everybody else. We all come in with a lot of specialties and a lot of gifts, but then sometimes you could come into this world with problems too, or issues that's beyond your control. And if you don't know about them, damage will be done, and you will lose some vital things you need to live out your dream and this, that, and the other. So for me, I don't have the thyroid gland. That's the first thing that was taken from me. The other three is just other parts of my body or whatever. But I'm living. I'm living. So I'm proud of that, and I look at life differently. I do like to share my experiences and what I've went through, just so I can help others. So you don't have to walk down the same path that I did. And I'm very, very passionate about that. I'm probably overly passionate about it. And so I probably get on some people's nerves, when I be like, yo, you can't, don't do this, don't do that. Cause I be like, I know how it feels to be on this side of the track. The part that might be a disconnect for me is that they feel about physicality like I feel. They might not even feel that. And so I'm thinking that it was such a traumatic thing for me to lose my ability to have that kind of control. Because if you're a physical person, then that means you all into your body. And to not have control over your body in the way that most people do, it is traumatic. I can't tell you. For my mindset, it is so traumatic. You know what I'm saying? So I go through things about that. I go through things about that. And I pray that it gets better. All I can do is keep trying and keep trying to learn new things or different ways. I wasn't willing to accept the status quo, like, hey, you don't have a thyroid gland no more, so you can just forget all about that. Why do I keep bringing up the thyroid gland? Because that's the one thing that secretes T4 hormone, which gets converted into T3, which is metabolism. I don't have that. I just don't have it. And I know how important it is in everyday life. Can these things affect you socially? Yes. If you're a young lady, why would you want to gain weight? Why would you want to gain weight? Especially if you're not eating your way to weight. Why would you want to gain weight? Men judge you by that. They judge you. I'm a young woman. When it happened to me, I was very young, wanting the same things as every other woman. But I had to contend with the fact that I couldn't even could control my body weight. And I was in the military. So I always had to do more than everybody else just to get by. I won't even I went from full disclosure, I went from I want to say 20 between 23, 27% body fat, which is good for a woman, to 33, 32. I passed what I need to pass in the military. I was able to do a whole career, but that's not what I wanted. You know what I'm saying? And I had the tools or the God-given gifts, because it won't just that I like to be physical. I was good at it. I remember I didn't learn basketball until I was like 11. By the time I was 12, I was awesome at it. I was housing niggas. I'm sorry. That's the only way I can say it. I was better than most boys because it was a challenge. You know what I'm saying? It was a challenge. But when in my generation, you wasn't raising your daughter thinking, oh, she's going to be somebody's sports or whatever. I'm not saying that didn't go on in the country, because we always had women go to the Olympics. So, that's a lot of sport activity there. But, we were poor, so we had to deal with the stuff that we could deal with that was free, like football, basketball, baseball. These are things that was free. Trying to go to get swimming, that requires an instructor. My mom didn't have no money for that, or a tennis instructor. Football, basketball, all that type stuff you learn in your neighborhood. And when you went to school, that's the only time you could get some kind of formal type of education in that. We took karate. I used to take karate, competed formally and everything in tournaments, and got third place, competed against grown women. I'm like 11, 12 years old, and came in third. But our karate instructor didn't believe in charging people, and that's the one we went to, a free one. And he did it old school. So yeah, I could, I used to walk on my hand. I could do a lot of stuff. And I loved that ability or that trait that I had. I loved it. But by the time I got like 15 and 16, whatever this disorder that I have, it was really kicking in. And there would be times where I would appear to be lazy or a procrastinator. Now, when somebody called me that today, I just go ahead and accept it and wear it as a badge, because there was times in my life where it did appear that it can only look like what it looked like. Just how you see me right now, that's how people saw me then. But then I'm just sitting on the couch and I'm lazy. And I'm probably depressed, but I don't know I'm depressed because I don't know nothing about that. They never told my mama that I had a disorder. I didn't find this out until I was fully grown, kids of my own. So, but just going through the transition, and I can't speak for men. I can only speak from a female point of view. So I apologize ahead of time that everything I say is mostly from a female point of view. I try to be inclusive with men too. The videos that I'm going to show you today, um, I will always pause sometimes, just to avoid not being charged up for like plagiarizing, or what they call it. Shit, y'all know what they call it when you doing when you don't own the rights to the songs and this, that, and the other. I do not own the rights to none of these things, but I go to YouTube like everybody else, or the internet like everybody else, to try to learn, and they have helpful videos and they put it out there for the public to learn. And I look for the little short clips so that I can show you guys, rather than me saying it all the time, but just to show you how what I'm saying and what I'm talking about correlates to what medical folks say too, and all this stuff. Um, I do offer specialized, meaning individual um, programs. Like, well, you can enter to my program where I specialize in creating recipes and new routines for you to follow to help you with your medical issues and to include weight loss. And I'm very different in how I approach weight loss. Um, it's very effective. It's very fast the way I do it. There is no shortcut, but it's very fast the way I do it because I do it the natural way. Um, that I will charge because I have to take in questions about you and I tailor make your recipes for you. Just I recap just now a little bit about myself. You can go back and look at the other videos to know everything. Because throughout the videos I tell you different things that has happened to me. But suffice to say, uh I inadvertently started to dive deep into food and its properties, what they do for you, and this, that, and the other. At one point in time, I was taking 15 pills a day just to live. Just to live. I'm down to 8 now. That came from me consistently saying, I don't want to do this. I didn't like it when it started. I don't want to do it. Who wants to be on pills? I don't want to grow old taking a whole bunch of pills. And as a black woman, you can guess 2 of the pills anyway. Well, not 2, 4, and to be exact, that I have to take is blood pressure. Because when they pull organs from your body, your blood pressure can be affected. Like I'm gonna tell you, always an imbalance anywhere in your body is an imbalance everywhere in your body. So, I get 4 blood pressure pills per day that I have to take. Some people might say that's not a big deal. It's a big deal. Not to mention the other shit I gotta take. So I'm down to 8. And sometimes it could be 9 or 10, depending on for allergy medicines or whenever I get sick. I'm also consistently always on steroids, not the steroids that you think you turn into the Incredible Hulk. Because as you see later, I don't have muscles in my neck that overlap. I don't have a male figure. I'm very top heavy. I have a female figure. I but steroids is not always bad. Steroids help me with my edema problem. And because of allergies and stuff like that, I'm one of those people who constantly wind up in the emergency room. Sometimes during the year, it could be every 10 days I'm in there. And I know they get tired of seeing me, but they already know, they know me when I'm coming. I come in there, they see where I'm swollen at, and they be like, they just roll me straight to the back, put together my cocktail, start an IV, pump that shit in me. I have to stay there for some hours. Sometimes they have to admit me. I have to stay overnight. I really try not to let that happen. But one of my goals this year that I made for myself, you can call it a New Year's resolution. I know that a lot of people do that in the month of January, coming into the new year. We can call it a goal if you don't like New Year's resolution, because most of the time those things fail. So I just made mine as a goal. And sometimes it do come down to the words you actually say or how you describe things. So my goal for this year is to get off the steroids. I can't not take them if I have an issue because my issues can be life threatening. But I'm going to try to do everything I can to not have to need them. That requires me to stay healthy, to stay fit, to make sure that I don't know why this thing popped up. Stay healthy, to stay fit, to stay not getting sick. I only really get sick with my disorders, and I only really so that means I have autoimmune disorder. Let me say that again: autoimmune disorders. It's where your body in just the gist of it is when your body attacks itself. And it does that through allergies, if it's the only way I can say it or describe it. So through allergies, my body wind up attacking itself. Allergies mostly from food. I have, I have a food allergy that covers the gamut. It's hardly anything that I can eat that my body's happy with. So I have to change not only the way I think, my programming being what we learned over the years, what all of us collectively have learned, but also how I eat or whatever. And I have been doing this. And I started August 7th. And, I've been doing it pretty good because, like I said, I just came back from the doctor. I have no plaque or mucus. At my age, that is to be expected, right? With my size, that is to be expected. But I don't have any of these issues. None. And my cholesterol is great. Do I still have a heart problem? Yes, the damage was done. You cannot undamage organs when they've been damaged. So remember that. That's why you don't want to wait till late to start making a change. You want to jump on it now. So we remember I talked about before the pyramid. We had the food pyramid that we were given all as youngsters coming up in school and everything about how we should look at the food pyramid. I changed it for my program where it's just 3 columns. The top part of the triangle, 10%. 10% meaning food. 30% I'm sorry, 10% meaning exercise, 30% meaning food, and 60% meaning mental. And I know we are all programmed to think that you just got to do exercise, 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 but you don't. You don't. If you want to be an elite athlete, yeah. You want to have great conditioning and endurance, stamina, yes. You want to carve your body up and make it look like what you want it to look like, yes. You do need exercise, don't get me wrong, because any muscle you have, you need to exercise it. Because even just walking to the store, walking in the store, walking around, running behind kids, you need to be able to do those things. If you need to jump in the pool just to save your baby, or swim with your kid when you're teaching them how to swim, you need to be conditioned to do certain things in life. And so yes, exercise is important, at least for that. Get the blood circulating, this, that, and the other. But outside of that, it's more specified. I wanna be a professional basketball player. Well, you need a lot of exercise with that. Or boxers, boxing fans talk TV. Boxing, you need a lot of exercise to be a boxer. You cannot just wing it, you know what I'm saying, and be great. So superior athletes or elite athletes, they need it. Regular Joe Blow on the street, you need enough for circulation of blood just to be healthy in general. Um, and you don't need much. In fact, they recommend 3 or 4 days a week, 45 minutes each, to be healthy and maintain a good weight for yourself. Because we know that if you're overweight, you're causing damage, you're causing a domino effect. But I always submit to you that people who are overweight probably got there because of some other problem that they don't know about. But if they knew about it and they fixed that problem, they would fix their weight problem. And a lot of people in this country, we don't think like that. In fact, around the world, we don't think like that. We think that people was lazy, therefore they got fat. That's not how it works. It does not work that way. And there should be people like me and others out here, you know, chiming to all of you guys, telling you that that's not what happened. So if you're a person that's severely overweight and you think you got that way because you was lazy or you wasn't good enough trying to do exercise, now that is not true. You have an issue that you don't probably know about, or maybe you do know about it, but more than likely you don't know about it. And therefore, that issue is what led to you gaining weight. Very rarely would you meet somebody in life that just pull up at a buffet and eat like the clumps. You don't meet people like that. I've seen some of the skinniest people have some of the biggest appetite. You know, when I say eat like the clumps, like you take the mama, the dad, Professor Clump and his brother, and just combine them and how they eat. I mean, you will have to eat so much in a sitting. We talking 3 to 5,000 calories in a sitting, and for you to just balloon up like that, that means breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now, let me bring up Michael Phelps. Y'all know he was one of the few Americans that won more gold medals than probably the lot of us that went over to the Olympics. Not me included, but those of us Americans who competed in the Olympics, past and present. Well, Michael Phelps, I think he won. And don't quote me. I think he won like 22 gold medals. This dude used to eat 7,000 calories. Now, something happened with him later in life, or maybe at the tail end of his career, he was on drugs. I ain't talking about that. But I'm talking about all the stuff he did to become the superior athlete that he was. He would eat that much a day. But did you ever see an ounce of fat on him? That's a testament to how much he worked out. But trust and believe me, he won't eating American diet food like that, like 7,000 calories a day. American just regular cheeseburger pieces, fried chicken, and all that stuff that tastes good. He won't eating like that. He was eating clean, but he was eating that much calories, and he wasn't overweight. And you can do that, especially if you're doing the exercise as much as he's doing, because swimming is an exercise that work every muscle and every part of your body. It's an all body workout, and it can build muscle. It's strength training, cardio, all that shit rolled up into one. So how is it that Michael Phelps, who didn't appear to have an ounce of fat on him, can eat like 7,000 calories a day, but he wasn't gaining no weight? And the proof is in the pudding. It was what he was eating, not so much how much he was eating. It was what he was eating. And that's the point that a lot of people don't understand, that sometimes you don't even know as an individual that certain things you eat don't like you. But that's for you to find out. And that's why I developed my program to help you find out. That's why I call it Finding the Health in You. Because when you find that true health in you, watch how everything just like the heavens open, the stars align, everything you want or needed happens for you. And this, that, and the other. My journey was, how can I get around my disabilities? And I inadvertently, as I said, started learning about foods, but I don't even know. It's not even like I'm even close to a dietitian. I never went to dietitian school or anything, but I wouldn't even call what I'm doing a dietitian method. I am truly studying foods and their properties and everything that it can do. And food does a lot of different things, because when I was taking them 15 pills a day, I was saying to myself, how do they know that these pills is going to make me do XYZ? How do they know this? How do they even come up with pills? They had to see it work somewhere before for them to even invent a pill to do XYZ. And they did. And it dawned on me, duh. They saw those results coming from food that you ate, and they decided to make pills to do the job that the food that you ate did. So I give you one. If you looking for an appetite suppressant, grapes. Grapes is what you want to go to. Grapes is it. But grapes don't just do appetite suppressant, they do other things. But that's one of the big things that it does. It does suppress your appetite. And then you hear a lot of people who say, I can't eat this type of fruit or that type of vegetable, this, that, and the other. And I'm gonna tell you, you can try this on your own. Excuse me, this is one of my meals. You could try it on your own. And like it's hard for me to tell somebody to do this, but I will say from my experience, if you allergic to this, that, and the other, because I have allergies too. When you mix the Western diet up and the sugars that's in it, and then somewhat try to eat clean too, sometimes you're gonna get an adverse reaction. Meaning you're not gonna get a favorable reaction. Versus if you go all the way clean. So for instance, people told me all the time that watermelon is very sweet. I hate watermelon. I don't like it. I like watermelon candy. I like watermelon drinks, but I do not like watermelon because it never tastes sweet to me. It never did. So growing up, I was the only one in the family who would need a watermelon. So my mom had to buy me a cantaloupe. I wish she'd have bought me some dew melons because I love them shits. But she bought me a cantaloupe. And I could deal with a cantaloupe, but I just could not deal with a watermelon, even today. But when I completely, and I know I've been doing my diet, but I've also been on my steroids too. That's been kind of like a derailment, no excuse, but that's what's going on. But when I'm able to eat nothing but clean shit, and then I come back and I eat a watermelon, it is absolutely sweet. It is so damn sweet. And I be like, how come all them years it never tastes sweet to me? And I, for the most part, eat clean all the time. As proven by my latest doctor visit. So I'm happy about that. But why when I eat a watermelon, it tastes bitter to me or nasty? But when I'm eating nothing but fruits and vegetables, watermelon tastes like sugar to me. How is that possible? Could it be the results, some of the results that I'm not even paying attention to that I'm getting from just eating clean? Have my taste buds awakened? Have they been dull or dormant all these years? And that's why I don't eat a lot of food, a lot of different foods. That's why when I eat, I get full quick. I mean, all kinds of stuff. I also notice when I eat clean, I have a big ass appetite. Lord, have mercy. Do I need to know how to cook? I need to know how to cook, because my final stage in my program in finding the health in me, I'm going to be eating a lot of foods that I could cook, like potatoes, rice, making meals, pretty much mostly vegan. I would never be 100% vegan because I like tuna fish and I like chicken and I like turkey. So them things right there, I'm not gonna give up, but I can give it up temporarily when I'm on a mission of cleaning myself out or detoxing. But for life, no. I will never. I don't have to go back to dairy. I don't miss it. I don't need it. I don't drink milk anyway. I mean, I was never big on dairy. The only thing about dairy that I like the most is cheese. That's it. For the most part, I love eggs, but eggs do not like me. I told you guys what eggs were. They were period eggs. Basically, the chicken had her period and she released her egg and it didn't get fertilized and then she laid it. Women do the same thing. We don't lay eggs, but we have our cycle because our egg didn't get fertilized and it either absorbs back in the body or comes out with our period. That's what you're eating when you eat eggs. Her period. Her period egg. It's not a chicken. You ain't gonna put it under lights and it turn into a bird. It's unfertilized. But it's good as a bitch, ain't it? I love eggs. I love eggs, but it don't like me. Just don't like me. Would it kill me to sit down and eat some eggs? No. I can eat like 3 scrambled eggs in one sitting. I love eggs that much. But I had to give it up. And when you give it up and you're able to give it up, that's why words like persevere, will, determination, commitment, dedication, these are important words. And we all of us, including myself, fall short with these words. But this is why I'm talking about this before I get into the food and exercise. Because to be successful at the program, you have to change your mentality. You have to believe that 10% of whatever you want your body to look like is covered in exercise. You're gonna have to believe that. Even if you don't, if you want to be a superior elite athlete or have a body like one, then no, you're gonna do way more than 10%. You're gonna put way more than 10% into exercise. But if you're just a regular Joe Blow person, you just want to look decent and feel good about yourself and everything, all you need 10%. That's it. You don't need it to lose weight. You do not need it to lose weight. And I'll say it again. You do not need it to lose weight. But it's like the icing on the cake. It's just it's you have to consider it as extra. And it's a good extra. Because you need it to be healthy a little bit, like good circulation and stuff like that. But you don't need it to lose weight. 30% of your mentality, well, what you put into finding the health in you, is going to be your food. It's what you eat, not how much you eat. It's what you eat. And if you keep thinking it's how much you eat, this is why a lot of diets don't work. It's what you eat, not how much you eat. It's always going to be what. My last video talked about the labeling of foods in America. You don't get the full picture of what you're eating. Therefore, how can you properly diet? See, this is why I tell you, if you're overweight or anything like that, it's really not your fault. I'll be the first to tell you it's not your fault. And it's not due to laziness. You are not given proper information. You are suffering in silence from something you don't even know. And it's because of that suffering, it leads to laziness. It leads to depression. It leads to obesity. It don't be the start point ain't I have obesity and therefore I'm lazy or this, that, and the other, or I'm lazy, therefore I'm obese. Something is happening to you that you might not know about that led to being lazy and then obese, or obesity and then lazy. It's really not your fault. And a lot of doctors won't ever tell you that, but trust me, through my knowledge and my experience and just what I practice, it's not. It doesn't go that way. But try telling that to all of us Americans who grew up thinking a certain way and then have to try to reprogram yourself. You can't tell me. You will never be able to tell me because I'm living it. I'm the one without the organs. If you're not the one with the organs, if you got all your organs, you're not really telling me anything. I'm the one that has less. I'm the one who had to figure out a different route. And I got results. A lot of people my age don't look as young as me. I'm telling you, it's a reason for that. A lot of people my age have plaque and mucus built up all in their veins. I do not. There's a reason for that. I had to learn a different way. And that's what I'm doing. I'm sharing this information. So I'm going to tell you too, part of your success in finding the health in you is going to be mental. As do, even if you do not follow my programs or my guides, you can follow any program. It's going to always be this way. 10% exercise, 30% what you eat, and 60% mental. It's the mental part that you got to fix. There's a lot of people out there walking around with a lot of weight on them, and they using it as a security blanket, and they don't even know they doing that. You know how you know you're doing that? Go through something traumatic and drop a lot of weight. And see, don't you not be happy about the weight you drop? Here it is. Excuse me. Finally, you are able to drop mega weight, but you may have, and I'm being sincere when I say this, you may have lost someone, or you may have gone through something traumatic, and which led you to do something you're not even realizing what you're doing. Either you start eating more than you normally eat. And fun fact, uh, eating more can make you lose weight too. Just telling you, some people it might not, but this is all about finding the health in you. So for me, when I eat a lot, I lose a lot, even without a thyroid gland. That's why I do what I do. I learned, not on purpose, but inadvertently, that when I ate a lot, I lost a lot. When I try to conserve and don't eat as much, it's when I gain weight. Because naturally, me before the thyroid cancer, and this is most of the girls in my family, once we reach puberty age, we stop eating. We eat once a day. And some people be like, that's not normal. They don't even believe us until they be around us all the time or be staying with us or something. I had a friend, he said, I didn't think, he said, I thought you really did eat. He said, but shit, girl, if I be on y'all schedule, I'll starve to death. Cause we'll go all until like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then we'll eat and we good for the day. So in a sense, we kind of like intermediate fasting, don't even know it, don't even be trying it. But that's how the girls in my family eat when they get to a certain age, you know. But when I'm depressed, and I learned this being in the Navy, leaving my children behind, like, I'm on the ship, all these women leaving their children behind. We go through something, The female birthing sounds like this at night. This is what you hear every night because they miss their babies in the middle of nowhere in the ocean. And you tend to do something. For me, it was eating. I was eating, I would have like 2 entrees, 2 everything. I would eat 3 desserts. When I say I was eating my ass off, I was eating my ass off. And I would always come back from a deployment having lost a lot of weight. And I'm on a ship, y'all. There's nowhere for me to go. I'm on a ship, losing mega weight, not even trying. And then I'll be like, what did I do differently? As soon as I come back, I'm no longer sad. I got my baby. I'm not sad no more. I go back to my normal routine, eating once a day. That wasn't good for me. That's what my body was saying. We don't like that. You have to try something else. But I wasn't listening. So now you're going to have to find yours. It could be that you are an eater. You're a big eater. That's okay. It matters what you eat. But you're going to have to learn that. It's all mental. It's not just about do you have the willpower, dedication, and all that, and the commitment. It's about, changing old programming. That's going to be your hardest task. It's changing what you think. I don't count calories. You won't hear me say anything about counting calories in my program ever. You eat as much as you want. Ever. And it works like a son of a gun. The last part of mental before I get into food and exercise I'm gonna talk about is submissiveness. And I'm hollering at the ladies for this. And I know the men, y'all probably don't agree. Just to a certain extent. I'm not male bashing. But a lot of men believe in submissiveness. And depending on what man you're talking to, He can have a different definition of submissiveness than you or other men. So you got two ends of the spectrum. You got the rudimentary way of submissiveness, and then you got the contemporary way of submissiveness and everything in between. So a lot of people could think submissiveness when they think that they think of the woman submitting to the man, and it could be some of that. But I'm telling you the contemporary way that I think about it. I kind of always been this way. Didn't even know I wasn't trying to be no rebel. But if God made you smart and you have a mind, he intended for you to use it. Okay? You do not need to bow down or submit yourself to anybody, not a man, not another woman, not your mama, not your daddy, not anybody. I'm talking to adults. Now, if you're a kid watching this, you do you a kid, you fall under your parents. They are dictators. They're not equal. It ain't no equality in that one. But to all adults out there, 18 and above, you do not have to submit to anybody. And trust me, if you live that life of believing in submissiveness, um, you're gonna do it and apply it and it be applicable everywhere. And don't get me wrong, you can have a household that's ideal because we have social constructs in our culture. Culturally, we do this, that, and the other. Traditionally, we do this, that, and the other. When it comes to submissiveness, I'm not rallying against that. I'm not, against it at all. But what I would say is, if you live your life thinking that you are less than, you would apply that everywhere. A lot of men don't like women to describe being submissive, especially if they're a macho guy and think that they're supposed to dominate you. They don't like when women say, "Oh, uh, you're living less than, or you're seeing yourself less than." They want you to look at being submissive as a good thing, as a thing that we're really helping you, we're really sprucing you up and putting you on the map. No, you're not. No, you're not. To me, I'm a person, I don't see no daylight in between somebody trying to dominate and show power over you, or just trying to rule over you. No different than what white people in our country's history did during slavery. Same to me. They thought, and I'm not knocking no white person today. We're talking history. In slavery times, they thought that if your skin was white, you were superior automatically. That means you were more logical, you were smarter, you made more sense, you got things done better. You were just a better person to be in charge. You were the dominant person and you was within your right. But this is what the creator wanted, for you to dominate over these inferior people. They gave no legitimacy to their claims, and that's why it didn't last. Now, I have a saying that coercive force alone with no legitimacy will always fail. But some people will make it, or they can view it as being a success, especially if you lived your whole life that way with no interruptions. You can see it as success. Slavery went on for centuries, but you see it failed, right? Because it had no legitimacy. How can you explain that your skin, which is an organ, the biggest organ you have on your body, the integumentary system, your skin can dictate that you are more smarter, you're more superior, um, you make more sense, you are better at everything over others because your skin is whatever color. That How can you legitimize that when science don't legitimize that? Science flies in the face of that. Like, please, that is not an accurate statement. But because they had the power, and which people who crave power and dominance are mostly insecure. And a lot of people lives be messed up because another person was insecure, as well as yourself. You can say that other people have envious traits, jealousy traits, and all that, and that they too can be insecure. But you can be jealous or have envy and not be insecure, but you can never, and I repeat, never be a person who craves power and dominance and not be insecure. That is never the case. Never. And if anybody tell you that, it's just not true. People who crave power and dominance are very much so insecure. And I use slavery as the example because that had more to do with the insecurities of white people than it did to do with just power or just dominance. It had more to do with their insecurities, and a lot of people, hundreds, millions of people, suffered because of that. You can go look at the Holocaust. They exerted dominance and power. They were suppressing and oppressing. Had everything to do with their insecurities, more so than the power and the dominance that they wanted to exude. So when I think about contemporary times today, because these were our country's ugly history, and as well as other countries in Germany, when I talk about the Holocaust, that was an ugly history for them too. These things happen. The thing is to not harp on it negatively, but to learn from them, right? So now we can sit here today and say anybody who craves power and dominance over you, they are insecure as hell. That's what it is. And if you allow them, you people can't do nothing to you that you don't allow. So if you allow them to do that, then you're selling yourself short. You are truly doing yourself a disservice. We have social constructs, we have protocols, we have tradition, we have culture, and we have what we would call an ideal setup in life. You have the man and you have the woman. The man leaves the house. That's cool if that's what you desire. A lot of people, if you ask a lot of women, they don't want to be dominated. They don't want to be put under the gun. They don't want to be submissive to people. They don't like that. But a lot of people, what one woman's list of priorities is different from woman to woman. I'll say it like that. So if something is getting met that she absolutely got to have, she may contend with being submissive for the fact that she's getting something else. But that won't work for everyone. But I will tell you, whether you do my program or anybody program, you can't have that mindset. That is what I call a derailment. And that falls under the mentality part of the triangle that I, came up with when I said part of finding the health in you is 60% mental. It very much is. And if you have a submissive attitude, where you got to put everybody before you, that you got to bow down to somebody, that you got to be dominated or whatever, and women, we have this problem, then it's gonna be hard. How you gonna achieve something that's hard by having that type of attitude? Trust me, everybody who's successful and who has made it from the mud up, they didn't have no submissive attitude. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And even if you able to do it because somebody told you to do it, guess what? It's not going to be sustained. It's going to fall because it wasn't genuinely achieved. So I need for a lot of you, and this is to all the people who do email me. First, we got to work on that. We also got to work on understanding that too. When you do drop your weight, you might find that it was a security blanket for you. And you're going to have to be okay with that to let it go. This is why you got to get your mental in check. You're going to have what I like to call healthy selfishness, where you put yourself first. Unhealthy selfishness is this, and I'm going to give an example, then we're going to get right into the topic of the day. Unhealthy selfishness is when you don't like to share, like think about you and your siblings. You don't like to share. You want the biggest piece of whatever. You want the most money, the best clothes. You always want the best. You want to be the center of the attention. Cool. Fine. I don't have a problem with that. The problem arises when you fix your mouth to ask for things that you're not even willing to give. That's when selfishness becomes a problem. It is not selfish to, in your own head, in your own way, where you're not affecting nobody else, to put yourself first. You can't help nobody if you don't help yourself. You can't be a good mother if you're not taking care of yourself. If your blood pressure is skyrocketed, and you bust your heart, who's gonna take care of your kids? If you've been the one doing it and you do it the best, who's gonna take over? If you're not there. So this is what I mean by you have to put yourself first, and you have to develop some healthy selfishness. And the last thing I'm gonna say in this preliminary to what I'm going to talk about, when we talk about the human brain, we got hormones and then we got brain. Our brains do three things: they compute, compensate, and they comprehend. So that's what your brain really is doing, and it takes sugar and it takes testosterone to run a brain. And you notice how I did not make a distinction between men and women. I'm hungry, so I gotta eat this. I did not make a distinction between men and women on purpose. Because the same thing to run a male's brain is the same thing to run a female's brain. And I know a lot of us living in our world don't like to think that that's true, but it is. Sugar and testosterone. Yes, women have testosterone. We just don't have it in abundance as men. Yes, men have estrogen. They just don't have it in abundance as women. That's the hormones. So when you start saying, I feel, I desire, I want, chop that up to the hormone department. But your brain is going to compute shit. It's going to compensate, meaning when you have traumatic things that your shoulders can't bear, it knows how to compartmentalize some shit. And then it's going to comprehend. And that is not a male or female thing. Okay. So, and I always make this comment like, you line up 10 brains that was once belonged to some humans, and you bring 100 people in at a time, and you said, you give them the one task, and you tell them, everybody in here, all these brains, they were PhDs, they was smartest, they was the creme de la creme. You bring these 100 people in and said, and point to the man and point to the woman. They will not be able to do it. Maybe a pathologist or a doctor could do it because they work with autopsies or whatever they do. They work with human parts of the body. Maybe there's some distinguishing mark, but from what I know, there isn't. I would not be able to pick a man brain from a female brain in the lineup. I can't do it. And that tells me everything. That tells me everything I need to know. So when you're out there in the world and you're trying to make decision and this, that, and else, you have to put yourself first. You don't need to have a submissive attitude. Yes, men have brute strength. Women have strength in the inside. So now where do we go from there? If men have brute strength, that's on the outside. That was necessary in that time. We live in contemporary times. It's not altogether necessary. It's a plus for sure. We have inner strength. And it was necessary for what we was designed for. So in the end of the day, they got it on the outside, we got it on the inside. What's the difference at this point? Do I believe in ideal setups? Yeah. Tradition, yeah, we live in a patriarchal society. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that, but it got more to do with the character and the content of the character and the way a person carry themselves that can make me be submissive or not, if you want to call it submissive. If I wake up and I feel like I got to get approval from somebody, I can't do it. If I wake up and I be like, well, we in this together, and so let me talk over with you, I can do that. But ain't once I got past 18, I don't want a mama and daddy ruling over me no more than anybody else do. So you got to change that mindset about you. If you one of them people that always try to do what everybody else wants you to do and put everybody first and do what's expected and required and all that, it's gonna be hard for you to achieve whatever it is you're trying to achieve. Period. No matter where you go and what you're trying to achieve. So reprogram your mind on that one. So I just had to, I felt like I had to say some of some of those things. Um and just to get you guys to understand how you approach certain things. Because this is something I had to do. I lived a life where I was trying to be what was expected of me, do what was required of me, and putting everybody before me. And I refused. I refused to go through my second part of my life. I call it my second phase, doing that. I refused. I refused. It didn't get me nowhere. And so, um, I'm not gonna sit around and wait, this, that, and the other. I'm gonna make myself, I'm gonna be happy. And if anybody else come into my life, then we gonna be happy. I'm gonna show common courtesy and respect, and I expect to get it back. I don't mind talking over and coming to. I told you I was a great compromiser. So if you want to call that submissive, that's just naturally me. I am a compromiser, but I don't want no daddy. I don't want nobody dominating me neither. And I don't want nobody telling me what I can and cannot do. Because when I do need to do stuff for me, like finding the health in me, I'm already derailed if I exist in that world. So to all the ladies who be writing me, try thinking about that, you know. And some of you have taken this journey and I've talked to you and came up with recipes and all that for you. And whenever you ready to, tell, your testimony, you can. So let's get into it. So exercise. I do believe in exercise, to be clear. A lot of people ask me that. Yes, yes. Miss T believes in exercise. I told you how it should be. If you want to be an elite athlete, you gotta do it. You gotta do it. You gotta do a whole lot more. It ain't gonna be no 3 to 4 days, 45 minutes at a time kind of sessions. You're gonna be doing probably 5 to 6 days, um, 2 hours here, take a break. It's gonna be like a job. Come back 2 hours later. All the greats do it like that. Anybody who was a superior athlete, this is how they train, especially in boxing. You'll get up in the morning, do a couple of hours, take a break, go to lunch, go back home, come back in another couple of hours, do another thing, take a break, and then in the last part of the day, do another thing. And it's so diverse, but you need to do that to become a superior athlete. And I would imagine all the other sports have that kind of regimen as well. Um, why is it so important? Exercise is important because of blood circulation. You want to get the blood flowing, and you open it up when you do that. You get the blood flowing by pumping the heart and everything, and raising, elevating the pressure of your heart or whatever. And you can only do, I can say can only, but you do that through exercise. You don't want to overwork the heart because you got clogged arteries, meaning you got plaque or mucus built up in them. Um, all muscles in the body should be exercised. All of them. The heart is a muscle, the brain is a muscle. That's why every day I get up and I try to be productive, whether it's business, personal, whatever. I don't let a day go past that I was not productive. That's called exercising your body. You When people get older, one of the reasons why a lot of people do pass on is when they stop being productive mentally. When the brain go, it goes. You're done. So you need to, I forgot to put the link in the chat. I'm sorry. The link is up there in the chat. So you need to always, every muscle in your body, you need to move it and exercise it and everything. Again, for just good circulation and everything. The circulation, talking about the blood in your veins, the blood takes vital nutrients and things needed to all the organs. It takes the fuel and is responsible for the energy it takes to operate them organs. It's going to come through the transportation system, which is the blood. So you're gonna need all that. Um, it helps with aging and prevent it prevents injuries. So a lot of people say, "Oh, Miss T, you look young." Thank you. Um, and it in my family we do have a young gene because sometimes I can get next to my older sister and people think I'm older than her. Even when we was younger, sometimes that people thought that, but we do have a young gene in our family. However, you can ruin it. You can always ruin what God gave you. But you know, following this program does rejuvenate you. I can attest to that. I can attest to that. Like going, seeing like you going backwards in age, it does do that. You just you have to check it out and see. You can also prevent injuries. If you're somebody who's stagnated, sit around on the couch and never get up and do nothing, you're gonna get to a certain age, and trust me, it's coming. To all you young folks, you're gonna bend down and pick up a pencil, and you're gonna be stuck. You know, or you gonna wake up with soreness, and you're gonna wonder how in the hell. You're gonna be like, I didn't do anything. Like I have the shoulder thing right here. I ain't do nothing. But it feel like somebody beat the shit out of me every day. It's been like this for months. But I know it's at first I didn't know what it was. But since it's continuing, I know it's my edema. I know that there's something swollen in there that's making the joints either pop out or something. Because it does that in my back. And that came from an injury when I was younger. The shoulder thing, nah, that's I told you I got rheumatoid arthritis. I'll never be able to get rid of it. It didn't come on me until I got in my 40s. I never had it in my 20s. I never had it as a child, teenager, 20s, 30s, 40s. It just popped up in my 40s. There was no way for me to prepare for that. There was no way for me to know that that was going to happen. But it's part of my autoimmune disorder. So I have to deal with it now. That shit hurt like hell. But I know when your joints hurt, that's usually swelling. And so you want to exercise for the conditioning of it all. You want to be able to run behind your children. Even some of us are younger now as grandparents. We want to run behind our grandchildren. You want to be able to go to stuff like their graduation without feeling like, am I going to make it? Oh, my chest hurt. I can't even walk upstairs. You want to be able to participate in family outings or things without feeling like you can't because you have these medical issues. It's for the conditioning of it all. So that's why you need exercise. And don't let it be a derailment in your process. And this is why I call for no exercise when you first start my program. I'm telling you, the average person that does my program, granted, a lot of people come to me because of the weight issue, but then I make them tell me in a nice way because I keep asking, like, hey, what really is the problem? Because then I know how to tailor make your recipe that you're gonna follow for usually about a month. Everybody different. I could say this: the bigger you are, the longer it's gonna be. It's gonna be more than a month. But if and big meaning you can be 70 pounds overweight. It's still. I'm just gonna do it for a month. If you want to get the total 70 pounds off, then you can do it as long as you want. What the recipe I give you, you can do it for the rest of your life and nothing gonna happen to you. Nothing bad. You're gonna live for a long time, gonna be healthy, everything. But um I take the exercise out of it because it's not needed. Now, I will say, as I told you, you have to factor in everything. When women get 30, one of the things that take a nosedive is muscle tone. And it is what it is. Men too, but there's a little bit longer than just 30. Maybe late 30s, maybe early 40s for men. But definitely for women, 30 years old, muscle tone. Deep dive. Why? Because around 30, you triple, I want to say like triple in your production of estrogen. I don't know why, but your estrogen levels goes up. Throw on top of that if you're pregnant. 'Cause if you're pregnant in your 30s, your estrogen level just shot through the roof. But it was going to do that whether you was pregnant or not. So you got a double dose at that point, which even without being pregnant is almost like a triple dose once you hit 30. So because you're producing more estrogen, your muscle tone is depleted. When you have more testosterone, it increases, right? And so now you have to do something to bring that back or to maintain it. Because without muscle tone, you really just a slob of yourself. You don't, there's nothing defined or anything, the shape that you loved is going away. So that's what you want the muscle tone for. So all you have to do is start doing some strength training. Strength training is one of the best training. But a lot of women probably don't want to do exercise like different ways because they think they're gonna be the Incredible Hulk. Unless you're taking steroids like banned substance steroids, not like medical steroids, but banned substance steroids, then you're gonna remain a woman at all times. All you're gonna do is get built. It's like your color. It doesn't matter where I go, I'm gonna be this color. I can get a little bit lighter. If let's say I went to the North Pole, I'm sure my skin complexion will get a little lighter, but it's a range. And then I can go somewhere like the equator, somewhere on the equator, like Singapore or something. I'm gonna get darker, but only but so much. I can only stay within that range. Whoever you are, whatever color you are, with white, black, purple, yellow, whatever, you can only have that range of lightness and darkness. You will never, there's nothing you could ever do to go beyond that for the most part. And it's never say never, but for the most part, nothing you could ever do to go beyond that. So that's the same thing about everything else in life. You have a uniqueness about yourself that you stay within a range um, of what you can do and what you can't do. Meaning, so like if you can get so small that it becomes a medical issue for you. You could be on your way to dying. You can get so big that it could become a medical issue. You're on your way to dying. Now, what your big and what your small is as compared to somebody else's, that's a whole nother story. You know what I'm saying? There's people that can never weigh what I weigh, like females. And I'm a tall person, so but somebody who's like 5'1" or 5 foot, you couldn't weigh what I weigh. It would probably be to your death. You know what I'm saying? Or you risking dying. But and I'm 5'9.5", 5'10". Am I shorter? It seems like I'm shorter because I got weight on me. But when the weight comes off, I keep getting tall. People like, did you get taller? Did you? No. I know that weight shrinks you, especially like at my age. Maybe not so much when you in your 20s, you still can maintain because your body in it to win it. But by the time you get to your 40s or really in your 30s, women tend to start shrinking. And it's usually the weight, the gravity of it all. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you can only you have a range of anything. And so when your weight start affecting everything, like you'll see stuff like your arteries, your veins being clogged, your cholesterol, you becoming diabetic, all kind of shit. Then your weight is causing or slowly causing your death. But do understand that 9 times out of 10, you didn't get to that weight on purpose. You didn't get to that weight by just eating. You have been bamboozled because you don't know other informations to prevent stuff like that. And you don't even know your own body, to prevent stuff like that. You may give birth to a child who can eat any and everything under the sun and stay physically fit. But that child came out of you. Talk to the ladies. So you like, how can I make it? But I don't have these same traits. It doesn't work like that. Independent assortment and what is it? Independent assortment and random selection when you make a baby. Something you or the father have no control over. Your genes are independently assorted and randomly selected. You didn't make that call. That's why you can have a child that's lighter than you or darker than you or have different color eyes than you because that independent assortment is comprised of thousands of your ancestors' genes, thousands of genes that's thrown in the mix and then randomly selected. So you and your kid could differ night and day. You know what I'm saying? You and your siblings could differ night and day because of that one factor right there. So we have a range, y'all. We have a range, and we have to understand that range. Okay. So pretty much in a nutshell, that is what exercise is all about. So Miss T or T is I'm very up on exercise. I love exercise. In fact, I built the gym in my house. I would suggest to women to do strength training, take it seriously, try it out. It's nothing like even if you do some like weight resistance with your own weight. So like if you go into a gym, a lot of ladies like to jump on the treadmills. Fuck that. Treadmills, the bike sitting down, all that. You want a fan bike. You want a fan bike because and you'll know all you gotta do is go over there where the guys are lifting dumbbells and weights and stuff like that. There's always one or two in the corner. You want a fan bike because a fan bike is strength training, it's weight resistant, it's your weight. If it's hard, it's because your weight. Every human being should be able to control and work with their own weight, meaning you should be able to pull your own weight. That's where they come from. Pull your own weight. If you have to pull yourself up, women, I know it's not natural for us to have that upper body strength, but hell, you can do things so that you can at least pull your own weight up. Men could be big as hell and still pull their own weight up, but it's just they got brute strength. Women, we cannot be big and practice trying to pull our own weight. It just ain't gonna work. If we practice trying to pull our own weight out, we're gonna get smaller and smaller and smaller. But you can do it. You can do push-ups. You can do pull-ups. You have to have a tight core muscle to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's things you could do. You could get I know you can go in even in the dollar store and buy these bands with the handles on the end. There's so many little different exercises you can do with just those bands. But since I got a clean bill of health this past week from the cardiologist, because believe it or not, I was restricted from even strength training and doing a lot of stuff. This been years. I used to walk 10 miles a day. a day, every day. Why? Because I don't have a thyroid gland and I don't have the extra help that you guys have in having the thyroid gland. So I used to walk 10 miles a day. Mm. And I had people that worked out with me and they would peel off weight like nobody business. I did too, but not as fast as them. I had homegirls who was losing 40 pounds a month walking with me, eating what the hell they want. Because 10 miles a day? Shit, in order for you to have some kind of success of dropping weight, you only really need 5 miles a day. But 10? Mm. And then when you get used to walking 10, you'll have to see it. If you'll tend to start wanting to run. If you got some weight on you and you never walk 10 miles a day, it's gonna probably start off taking you about 3 hours. You'll get to a point where it's not that long. At my peak, I was walking 10 miles in an hour and 50 minutes. Do I know if I was running? I said walking because that's what I thought I was doing. But there were times when I was like, man, I gotta run. An hour and 50 minutes. That's how long it took me to walk 10 miles a day when I was doing it. Now, when you stop doing it, you got to build that shit back up. Because that pain in your leg, you can't just go out there and say, today I'm going to walk 10 miles. No, go out there and walk till your legs hurt at the top. This is how I tell people to do it. Your legs hurt at the top, listen to your body because you don't want no injuries. Stop. Rest. Go out there the next day, do the same amount that you did that day before. Your legs gonna start hurting at the top. Okay, rest. After doing that for a week, by the next week, you should be able to go a little bit further. And that's what you do. You just keep going a little bit further until it hurts, and then you stop and you adhere to what your body telling you, and then you keep going out and you do more and more and more. And that's kind of the lay of the land of how you should exercise, period. But I would tell you, ladies, get off the treadmills and the sitting bikes and go to the fan bike. That one is going to do you more. You can buy one too. They like a couple of $100s. You can buy one, put one right in your room. I can tell you a specific 21-minute. I think they call it hit training. You probably already know it. Uh, Hit training. I can tell you a simple way, and you can do it for about a month, right? And then that month, go out and try to jog, and you're gonna be surprised. You're gonna be surprised how easy it is to run. You're gonna be surprised how far you can run without really getting tired or breaking a sweat. Just from doing this one little routine on a fan bike. So exercise, people, is very important. Now, how we correlate that with food. If you're gonna be exercising, you gotta eat food to give you energy. You have to. So for people who start off on my program, this is why I tell you don't exercise. Because you're basically getting rid of sugar out your body. Unwanted sugar. Sugar you ain't even know you had in your body. You're keeping the good sugar, but you're getting rid of the bad sugar. That's what I tailor make your recipes to do. And I can tell what your actual issue is by what you tell me. Now you can go personal with your medical stuff. There's some people who did my program since I started the show that have had some personal like stuff. You don't want to. You wouldn't think that they would tell you, but it was good to know, and I thank them for trusting me, and I helped them, and they told me that it's reverse. I had some good feedback, but I can't tell their story. I can't tell people's story, but I had some excellent feedback, which made me very happy. I only charge because I'm offering it like this, and a lot of people can ask. If normally anybody who knows me know I'd have did it for free, but it's the time and the effort and the research that I put into everybody's case specifically. Why I go ahead and charge? Hold on, excuse me, 1 second. I'm sorry. Yes. Every time I sit near this window, and this is the winter, and I know they're not cutting no grass, but I don't know if it's pollen built up outside this window, but it's killing me. It be killing me. But anyway, food. So we're gonna talk about the difference between simple carbs and complex carbs. And y'all probably already know it. Carbs are sugar, whether they simple or complex. It's found naturally in foods such as fruits, milk, milk products, mostly found in products like processed and refined sugars such as candy, table sugars, and soft drinks. That is simple carbs. Complex carbs are made up of sugars, again, sugars, sugar molecules strung together in long, complex chains. That's probably why they call it complex carbs. Foods like peas, beans, whole grains, and vegetables. both of them, both of those type foods, whether you're eating simple carbs or complex carbs, turns into sugar when it hits the body, which, i.e., another name is glucose, after eating and used for energy. That's what you use glucose for. So, simple carbs and complex carbs. And remember, I told you, even if it's something that you didn't supposed to eat, everything that you eat turns to sugar, period, in your body. But there's sugar you want in your body and there's sugar you don't want in your body. And the labeling of foods in America is not done a good job of distinguishing between the two. So you will never, ever, ever be able to go on a diet. I'm talking about people who've tried and tried and tried in 20 years in the game and still can't get the weight out. You're not going to be able to do it and be successful because you don't know what sugars you eat. You don't know. Now, some people ramp up their exercise, like I just told you. I was walking 10 miles a day. There's no way I could be overweight when I was doing that. I was small as hell. I still weighed more than most people. I'm taller, but um 10 miles a day. I did it for a long time. Take my kids with me, everything. I did it a lot, but there's no way you can do something like that. And I would come home and work out in my gym that I made. I made a gym in my garage, and I got boxing equipment, a bench, Olympic size bar, to put weight on. I got this other thing that just do all kinds of different work, different areas of your body, free weights, everything, a heavy bag, a speed bag, a fan bike, you name it, I got it. You know what I'm saying? Jump rope, all that. So I would come home and do that because, again, I like to be physical. It's my passion. So you can do all that and bypass, you know, cutting back on the simple carbs or something. If you're gonna eat carbs, eat some complex carbs. If you're gonna eat simple carbs, then you just gotta ramp up amount of time that you devote to exercise. Simple as that. It's a balancing act. That's all it is a balancing act. Do understand though, there are some of you out there that could ill afford to eat certain sugars. God's sugar, as I like to call it, meaning it naturally occurs. You will never be overweight just eating God's sugar. And if you eat God's sugar and man-made sugar and how we process it and all that, then all bets are off. But just eating God's sugar, I have some family members, cousins, whatever. I had aunts that suffer from obesity bad. And we sometimes just being obese, you like you don't get to live out your dreams because it could be a derailment. It could be a derailment because you'll develop some serious insecurities. It could be a derailment because people judge you and they throw monkey wrenches in your shit when you're trying to be or do something. So it could be bad. And I would love to help first and foremost family members out for the free. I would love to do it. I might charge a little something Not as much as I charge everybody else, but just saying, we all got that person in the family you want to just reach out and grab and say, look, I'm telling you, I know. I know because I experienced it myself and I just know. And when you're in a predicament that no matter what you do, you try to go out there and exercise and nothing works, or you really did try to go on a diet and count calories and shit, which I never suggest, it didn't work. It could work with some people, but it just not consistent, you know. Why? Because if you're counting calories, that means you have to be able to count everything that goes in your mouth. If everything is not labeled properly, then how can you count it? That is the question that nobody, for the most part, seem to ask. Yeah, you can count the calories that they put on the label, but what about the calories they don't put on the label? And it's a lot. It's way more of that than it is what you see on the label. So if you get carbohydrates, let's say it's 15 and the sugars is 5. So you think, oh, 20, because carbohydrates is sugars and sugars is sugar. So you think, oh, 20. But the part of that item that you about to eat that's not on the label, the sugars in that same item, they got 20 carbs. That's what the label say. The other part that it don't say is it got 200 grams of sugar. So you all along thinking 50. Maybe you allow yourself per day 200 tops grams of sugar. Meaning from everything you eat, you thinking you making a cutback because when you look back before, this is what I mean by counting calories. When you looked at yourself before, you're like, normally every day I eat, I'm probably eating like 1,000 grams of sugars. That's based on what you read on the label, right? So now you say to yourself, I'm gonna cut back 200. I'm gonna do 200 per day instead of 1,000. Eureka. Now you cooking with grease, right? So then you start actually counting your sugars. You count your carbs and you count your sugars because those things are labeled. That they show a number and everything. So you like, every meal I just eat 20 carbs. That's it. Or sugars. I eat a total of 20. So if I'm eating 3 meals a day, that's 60. Mm. Or is it 6,000 that you ate that day? You didn't know. So the whole time you're cutting calories and your stomach growling and you're hungry and everybody's eating in front of you and you don't get to eat good food and you're eating salad food and you're eating rabbit food, you're eating nasty ass shit like cottage cheese, you're not happy. You don't like to go to social events because every social event, somebody putting some in their mouth is always centered around food or something. So you're going through this, your quality of life suck, and then to throw insult to injury, you ain't drop a half a pound. You barely drop a half a pound. You ain't dropping shit. And then you say, okay, I'm not gonna get on the scale. I'm gonna weigh myself once a month. And at the end of the month, you didn't gain 10 to 15 pounds. What does that make you do at that point? It would make anybody say, fuck it. I'm gonna eat what the hell I want. I don't care no more. You're gonna miss out on jobs because people will hold it against you. People will discriminate against you. You're gonna miss out on the great love of your life. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna settle for shit. You're gonna develop insecurities. Your quality of life, your social life is gonna be kind of traumatic to you. You're not gonna be happy. You're gonna get depressed. I can go on and on and on. And all of that because they won't tell you the truth that is actually thousands of calories and sugar in the food you about to eat instead of the 20 that they chose to tell you about. Now, how can you diet if you don't know what's in the food? How can you count when they don't give you a total number. So calorie diets, that's why they don't work. That is the only reason they don't work. If they put on the label the total amount of calories to include the total amount of sugar, calorie diets will work. But they don't do it and they never will. Because that type of sugar you weren't supposed to eat in the first place. So that's what I'm helping you do. Let's get that bull crap up out of you. Let's keep the good ones and let's see where it goes. I would imagine not just America had this problem, Europe, all over the globe. Because I know America is probably leading the pack or always have led the pack as far as labeling their foods compared to other countries. But shit, if you ain't gonna tell them everything, how can you make an informed decision? You don't know everything. And then you walking around, people thinking that you lazy and that's why you got fat, or you sitting up there like the clumps. Or they, you're not looking your best, and obesity can cause all kinds of issues, bad skin, smells. I mean, all kinds of shit. You know what I'm saying? Loss of hair. So basically, you're just the most awkward, inadequate, socially inept person ever. Now, how is that good for you when you're a youngster, especially when you're young? If you made it to your 30s and you still didn't have an answer, I just told you the answer. There's 15-year-olds, 14-year-olds, a lot of people walking around with these problems. Nobody's telling them shit. I can help you find the health in you. You just have to email me at boxingfanstalk@gmail.com. That's boxingfanstalk@gmail.com. As you see, it's scrolling at the bottom of my broadcast. You can always call in and talk to me about it. You can come in through the chat. You can ask me specific questions. I'll answer. I had to learn all this stuff inadvertently because I had to help myself. If you're in here, smash the like button and subscribe button, because I know a lot of y'all be looking. Y'all don't never hit the like button and subscribe button. Please do so. I'm eating right now and I'm drinking it. I'm good. My stomach was growling. The food helped me. You know what I'm saying? Like, T, you drinking? Yep, drinking. Drinking food. And it's all good. I ain't having no problems. I just told y'all. If I told y'all the damage to my heart, and then I told y'all what my levels were, what I just got this week, y'all will be like, what? Y'all know how old I am, but I have great cholesterol. Now, my size person, I should have some bad problems with cholesterol, right? Nope. Got great cholesterol. And I have no blockages. None. Valves work, everything. It's the food. I let the food be my medicine. I'd rather eat food than to take 15 pills a day. That's me. If I want to get in there and have a sparring session with somebody, I want to be able to do it. I don't care how old I am. If I want to go in there and do something, I live for the day. I love to beast it out. I love it. That's me. Like a painter who loves to paint. Don't take that ability from me. That's the part that hurt me. And I found a way to kind of get it back, and I'm going to have it. So, cleaning your system out is what we aim to do. That's what my 3 steps are. I clean your system out. Usually it takes a month, but like I said, depending on the person. If you're a bigger person, it might take longer than a month. Testing, it might not take longer than a month. Testing, it's my second phase of my program. And that's when I reintroduce things that you really feel like you must have. So, like, I had a client one time that loved ketchup. They just love ketchup. Ketchup did not love them. And we had to take it out. We had to take it out, their normal routine, and they got better. The skin cleared up. They got better in so many ways. And it turned out it wasn't just ketchup, it was condiments in general. This person couldn't handle, theirs was easy. They couldn't handle soft drinks and condiments and dairy. Because dairy, you might as well just say sugar. You might as well change the name from dairy to sugar and just put sugar. Just say sugar. Because every time you eat dairy, that's what you eat, sugar. Just say sugar. And so when we reintroduced it back into their system, we did it one by one. So when we got to the ketchup, nothing else was reintroduced but ketchup. And I'm telling you, I said you have to pay attention to what it does. You're gonna have to really pay attention to details. And sure enough, as soon as they ate the ketchup, they start itching right away. Start itching. It's like, well, nothing's happening. I don't see nothing on my face, but my fingers be itching. That's the sign. It might not be an actual zit or something to pop up on your face. It could be you losing hair. It could be itching. It could be your feet itching. It could be like you don't feel like you got circulation. You can have like them shakes when people always shaking their leg or whatever. You can get tired, fatigued. It can make you, just pass out. Because when you just introduce sugar like that in your body, your pancreas got to work overtime to produce the sugar molecules to go along with the sugars that you ate, so it can be usable. And that's just a lot of sugar. And then eventually it'll crash. And then, of course, it's the spikes. What you want is the level. You want to kind of like flatline when it comes to sugar. Like when you eat the sugar, you don't want it to spike. You don't want it to drop. Dropping means you ain't got no sugar. You ain't eating no sugar. Spiking meaning you ate way too much. Or flatline, you want to be in the middle. That's how you want your sugar to be all day. And trust me, watch how it reverses a lot of shit that's wrong with you. But before I keep going, let me bring in this video. And let me play it. It's a 2-minute video I wanted to play.
Looking at sugar in our diet, we're evaluating our foods and what to eat. One of the big questions is, what's the difference between natural sugars and ones that are added in? When we're talking about sugar, it kind of includes a bunch of things that are carbohydrates, from a simple sugar to a whole bunch of sugars that are all together. Ultimately, what it comes down to is it gets changed into glucose in our body, and that's what we use for energy. So what it really comes down to is that glucose molecule is the same in natural foods and what gets added into our foods.
So keep that in mind. And I have to pause so I can say, I do not own this thing. This is a tutorial that I think they put it out for everybody. Matter of fact, let me take my banner down and put up this banner. I do not own the rights to this song or anything, this video. So while this video playing, that's what I do. But I have to pause it so I can make sure I don't do no copyright stuff. But you heard what she said about glucose. Whether you eat good food or not, glucose is going to come out the deal, meaning sugar. But glucose is the only one you can use. There's other type of sugars that come out too.
But what's important is how much of it we're getting and how quickly it's making it into our bloodstream. Those are the big, big differences. So when we're eating
and making it into your bloodstream, remember, that means the transportation. That's the ultimate destination of your sugar. It's going to be 3 molecules of sugar from whatever it is you ate, accompanied with 1 molecule of sugar from which your pancreas made. Now, your pancreas can say, oh, it's 1,000 molecules of sugar in there. For every 3, that's going to be accompanied by 1. Your pancreas is going to make all of that. When you ramp up your pancreas to keep making sugar and sugar and sugar and sugar, this is what leads to diabetes. But Okay.
Whole food, that tends to come as complex carbohydrates, and it tends to come along with other things like proteins and fats and fiber. And so it takes a long time in our digestion to get broken down to all the glucose molecules, and that can spread that glucose out in our bloodstream over 4 hours. But when we're eating processed food, we tend to get them really broken down already. Often we don't get all those other things like the important fiber that comes along. And some of that glucose, a lot of it can actually hit our bloodstream in 20, 30 minutes. And we can get this huge spike of blood sugar. And our body responds, makes a bunch of insulin to get rid of all that excess sugar that's in our blood, and we get a crash. And that's what we really feel, is that blood sugar crash. And that's when you feel kind of moody and your brain's not even thinking right. Often people will call that hangry because they've got that blood sugar crash.
When they talk about the crash, right, you're going to notice she's going to say, oh, and then after the crash, you get hungry again. This is when people know, because like you eat all this junk food or whatever, and then half an hour later, like, the running joke, half an hour later, you're hungry again. Yeah, because because the stuff you ate, even though it has weight and take up space, it wasn't usable. So because it's not usable, if your body was starving for nutrients before you ate that shit, you didn't fix the problem by eating that shit. So what's gonna happen when it crashes? You're gonna be hungry again, and then you're gonna try. Your body gonna be saying, "Hey, feed us something we can use." And once again, you're not gonna feed us something you can use because you're gonna eat junk food. But that's what she's talking about.
And it makes us crave more blood sugar. So huge difference between a whole food and what happens with that sugar, and a lot of processed foods and how we're going to respond way differently to that. When you look at something like chromium, it comes in foods that are really high in carbohydrates. So even cane sugar, the actual stalk of it has chromium in it. And we need that for our cells to listen to insulin and take that sugar out of our blood. But when you process that down to sugar, that chromium is lost. And so now it's harder for our body to even handle the sugar that we're getting in our diet. There's lots of other nutrients, magnesium and amino acids, that we get in real food that help our body manage sugar properly. But when we process food, we lose those minerals. We lose so many of those nutrients that help us balance our blood sugar properly. So those are the huge differences between what's in our food already and what happens when we add a bunch of sugar in and process that food. If you have any questions.
Okay. So yeah, that was just a little quick little tutorial about, the sugars and all that stuff and the importance of it. Our bodies do run off of sugar. I know people who have, like older elderly people. You know why they get really, really thin? Because they can't at that point eat a lot of sugar. They just can't. It'll be the death of them. So you'll see people as they get older, they'll start thinning out because they understand at a late date, but it's never, ever too late to learn something. I put it out there now. I wish somebody would have told me when I was in my 20s, oh, where would I be if I knew all this stuff? And then I'd be learning it surface by surface. But like as I learn things, I take it for action, whether I know the complete story or not. Then as I'm going through the process of taking it for action, then I'll be learning and picking up other stuff. But bottom line, your body runs off of sugar. And it's either good sugar or not. You don't want your sugar to spike up with sugar that you can't use, because then that means your pancreas got to work overtime. This, like I said, leads to type 2 diabetes, because for every 3 molecules of sugar that is registered in your body from whatever you ate, your pancreas got to create 1 molecule of sugar to accompany it before it gets into the bloodstream, or else it's not going to get into the bloodstream. Y'all remember that story I was telling you, like a bouncer standing outside of the bloodstream, you trying to get in there so that the blood can deliver to the heart, to the lungs, to the brain, blood to give fuel and energy and nutrients and stuff. But it's not going to let you in unless it's real glucose, and it's got to be accompanied with the molecule of sugar from your pancreas. All that fake fugazi ass sugar, it's not getting in. It's going to be sit to the side. Now, in the case of fight or flight, that's when that shit could probably be used. That fugazi sugar. I mean, like, meaning you about to starve to death, or something real traumatic. Yeah. That's the beauty of your body. It's resilient. But in normal situations, and being depressed is not going to make that change. Normal situations, if this fugazi ass sugar, it's going to be pushed off to the side. It's not getting in the bloodstream. And then it's going to turn to fat because sugar always turns to fat. And then you're going to get big and big and big. And when you get big and big and big, you squeezing your organs. You're not giving them room to do whatever. Like if it's around your heart, because when you get big, your organs get big too. They gain weight too. And so when your heart needs to go boom, boom. Now I'm gonna say it, I hear boom. But when it's got fat around it, go. So now just to get the full boom, boom, it has to go, so many times. Boom, 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 just to equal one, but boom. If that makes sense to you. So that's the importance of, exercise and food. When you start exercising, that means you're gonna need more sugar for fuel and energy. That means you should turn to complex carbs. But if you're not exercising, and let's say you just want to get the weight off or whatever, there are some people that come to me and say, Miss T, it's only weight. That's my only issue. I'm not sick no other kind of way. There is a basic like weight loss formula or recipe that I put together, and we go that route too. And basically, it will fix. You have a problem, you just don't know it. You have a problem, but you just don't know it, and it will fix that problem. But sometimes, depending on the person, it can be more severe or not. So that's basically what I wanted to talk about. Is changing your mentality. Go with that food pyramid that I had, or the new pyramid that I had. It's not necessarily food. 10% exercise, 30% what you eat, not how much you eat. I could care less about that. I'm not limiting you or anything. And 60% mental. You have to reprogram what you think. Exercise is good. Strength training, ladies. Strength training, ladies. Strength training, ladies. You will not turn a Hulk. You will be cut the fuck up in the nicest way. And trust me, he'll appreciate it. I'm trying to imitate that commercial when he said, "Oh, she'll thank you." He'll thank you. He'll appreciate it. It's all about what it can do for you in basic terms: blood circulation, muscle growth, or just muscle conditioning, help with aging and prevent injuries. Those two things we should all want. We should all want to age slow and then rarely have injuries. And the conditioning of it all, you want to be able to run behind your grandkids or your kids. Sometimes you got to run behind a kid to stop them from about to getting into something. You don't want to be so out of shape that you can't do that, or getting in and out the car. It's like a job in itself. I see people like breathing hard, trying to get in that car. Come on, man. Either sell that car or get it together. Put your ears together. Don't let it be a derailment to you. And this is why I say with my program, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Trust me, 3 weeks into the program, if you're doing it right, something gonna be in you that compels you to get up and exercise. It wouldn't be nothing I could say. That's why I said don't worry about it. It's gonna come naturally. When you eat clean, there's a high that comes with it. And if you never did it, you should try it. And I promise you, you will be like, what? You'll be shocked. And it was always known it was being departed from in the 70s, because that's when the food companies got their way. This is why when we talk about voting and all that, for me, I can't be with Republicans. They always trying to do something. It's about money with them for everything. And here's the thing: if you deregulate shit, which that's what they always call for, this is when people get hurt. They deregulate this, and you don't have to clean up behind yourself. So now your land and waterways are contaminated. They putting sugars in food that they knew better not to do that. They knew since the 1800s not to do that. What they know that this shit does and what it's doing to people, they already knew this back in the 1800s. They tested it on rats. Cancer, you name it. Greens, beans, tomatoes, you name it. Like all the ailments and diseases that people got today, That was all figured out in the 1800s. They knew this. And I'm talking about right before the 20th century. They knew it. And the presidents, people like Teddy Roosevelt, refused to let these motherfuckers off the hook because they feeding America. No, you will not put this bull crap in the food that you give to us to put on our tables. And somehow or another, deregulation became popular. And so those old rules went out the window. And in came the processed food. Because what they did know that one, it would make you have a habit. You will be a repeat offender. That means you'll keep rebuying their product. Two, they knew it was gonna make you sick. But hey, this is how they squared away with everybody else. See, doctors can make money. Somehow in the same time frame, doctors stop fixing the problem and fixing the symptom. They all in it together. And they still can make money if we go back to the way we were, because they made money back then too. That when we was eating healthy, but they all in it together. If you sick and you got these ailments or problems, hey, I'll give you a pill to fix the symptom. I'm not gonna tell you how to fix the problem. That's how it be. That's how it be. And we willingly, just like automatons, fall in line and follow them the beat of their drum. I was just to let you know, unprocessed whole grains. So when they be talking about milk products and all this stuff, I would say once your kid is 8 years old, get off the fucking milk. Get off the milk. If you over 8 years old, please, 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 don't be out there drinking no goddamn milk. Something wrong with you. Unprocessed whole grains is things like oats. That's why oatmeal is good. Quinoa, barley, brown rice, legumes, and lentils. All of those things are good for you. And they're filling. And then you know what complex carbs are beans. Anything that come out the ground is complex carb. Now anything outside of that is not. It's a simple carb. And it ain't gonna be good for you. So that's what we gotta get ourselves into. These bots or whatever that be coming through. I block you guys because I don't know if you're real people. But that's about all I was gonna say today. Thank you for joining me. Enjoy your football today. I know some games coming up. I think Dallas is playing who are they? Philadelphia Eagles. So DJ, I know you out there listening or looking at your game. I don't expect you to be in here. But good luck to you, DJ, because I know the Eagles is your team. I don't know of anybody that I know who's into the Cowboys. Maybe the people that watch on Facebook. Good luck to y'all, because I know that's y'all team. A lot of people from Virginia like the Cowboys. Go figure. But anywho, enjoy y'all game. Thank you for joining. And next time, just come into the channel. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. I see a lot more people watching it on Facebook. Y'all got to come in to the broadcast and hit like and subscribe and everything. So remember, when you know better, you do better. Again, if you want personal help for me to figure out a routine or something specific for you, I can. I do address all kinds of things. I accidentally came upon this ability because I was trying to help myself. For me, I don't have like some organs. As I always say, I've had 4 removed. I'm still living and I'm healthy. I had to learn how to make food medicine for me. This wasn't an easy task, and this didn't happen overnight. This is something I've had to learn. And I know there's people out there that's watching me through Facebook that know that know me personally. I've worked out with them, and they be like, "Damn, girl, I know she'll beast up in this bitch." Like, they know. And when it comes to the gym and all that stuff, and they know I wasn't getting no kind of results, no reprieve. So I had to learn, because my desire to get off medicine is what pushed me to learn. And I'm glad I learned, because now I feel like I'm a specialist. I don't even know if it's a school that individually studies food in depth. I'm sure somewhere in some kind of college they do, but like dietitian is not. Dietitian is like they know how to put the food together based on the pyramid, but I don't know if they go in depth about learning about food so you can replace it as medicine. I don't know if that's holistic learning type shit. I don't know what it is. I know for me, that was my goal. I'm tired of taking all these pills. What kind of food can I eat so I don't have to take all these pills? I went from 15 to 8 pills. And I don't know, hopefully by the end of the year, I'll be down to probably 4 or 5. You know what I'm saying? And one day, maybe I'll just be down to 2. Because 2 of the pills that I take, I can never, ever. It's for life. There's nothing I could do to change it because I don't have the thyroid gland. So I have to take Synthroid. But all the rest of that shit, my goal is that's my goal this year. Get off the steroids too. I got to get off that. But, like I said, my condition can be fatal. So sometimes I have to take it. But anywho, I ain't complaining. I'm happy that I'm learning because when I know better, I do better. And I hope that's what you all guys come to realize. Don't forget to like and subscribe on your way out. Please, in the future, y'all just come through YouTube. Hit the like and subscribe. Join the chat. Holla at your girl. All right. Peace.